Hi, guys. You're welcome again to another episode on the AfroCinate podcast, where we bring to you authentic information about the life and experiences of foreigners in Germany, be them students or expat workers or those who have come for training. We bring you information that can improve your experience of living here, of studying in Germany, and working in Germany. And today, like we promised in our last episode, we are going to talk about preparing yourself to migrate to Germany. This is an aspect that a lot of people do not engage in when they plan or when they are thinking of migrating. Some people actually just get up one morning and they decide to travel. Let me say one morning, because if you don't take time to plan, it is like you just woke up in the morning and you decided to travel or to migrate. I am one of those persons who did not really plan my trip to Germany because of the short time that I had. And so it affected my experience here. And that is why we are bringing this episode to you today. And so for you to prepare to migrate to Germany, there are certain things that you need to consider. First, we'll talk about doing your own research about coming to Germany and planning. So research and planning, you need to research about life in Germany, about the culture and the way the people do things. That is very important in your preparatory phase to coming to Germany. And then you also need to research about the cost of living and housing. These are things that you need to get information about them before you plan to come here, either as a student or as a worker, or in any life sphere that you plan to come to Germany. You need to get this information to prepare yourself. So you need this research and planning. This is the first phase for you to do when you're planning to come here. The next thing we're going to look at is visa and residence permit. You know, if you are planning to go somewhere, you need to know what it takes to live in that place where you're going to. And so you need to check visa requirements. And sometimes visa requirements are country specific. So you need to check visa requirements from your home country to Germany. And then when you check and get this information about visa requirements, then you need to put the documents, the required documents together. And putting some of these documents, that very important documents that you need is, of course, you need a valid passport. Yeah, that is, for international travel, you need a valid passport. You need to think of health insurance while you're in Germany, because unlike in other countries, when you're planning to come to Germany, you need health insurance coverage. They have to be sure that when you get here, you are going to have health coverage. So you need to think of health insurance when you're coming to Germany. You also need to think of your income and means of life when you get to Germany. And then I will encourage very much that you need to apply on time. You need to apply for your visa on time, because this is absolutely important. When you apply on time, you give the authorities enough time to be able to work on these documents. Remember, waiting time varies in different countries. So applying on time is very important. Again, I would like to highlight that in Germany, there is a lot of bureaucracy, and this spills over to their foreign missions in other countries. So thinking of applying for a visa, you need to do it in time so that they can take the time to process your documents, and then you get your visa at the time that you really need it. And then the other way to prepare yourself to come to Germany is thinking about language skills. I know I have mentioned this in almost all the videos that we've made before, but again, we are stressing it here because language skills are very important when you are coming to Germany. If you're coming as a student, if you're coming to study in an English taught program, you may not need the language while in school. But then remember that you're going to live in the community, so you need the language to be able to survive, to be able to interact with people. And if you are coming for training, that is vocational training, you absolutely need the language, because you will be taught in the German language. And if you're coming as an expat worker, you need the language, because you will also be interacting with people. Your job may require that you do it in the German language. And again, I will advise that this is one of the most important things that you need to think about: language. I stress here because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking, can I just come to Germany? I want to look for a job. I want to study. I will stress that language is very important, and aim for B1 or higher. Aim for B1 or higher. That is very important. Then the next thing is you need to think of job opportunities. If you're planning to move to Germany, one way to prepare is to think about job opportunities in your area. This is very important. So you need to look at how is the job market in the area that I am coming to work in. That will give you a good view of what you need to do. Think about the required skills for such jobs in your field. Then when you already have this, then think of networking with people already in the field. In your field of specialization. You can do this through online platforms and so on. Again, I will remind us here of something. There is an adage which goes like, what you know is important, but whom you know is most important. So when you network with the right people, you have higher chances of getting recommended for a job position. So this is very important. Then think about housing and accommodation. When you come to Germany, you need an accommodation. And of course, this is one of the things that will even be required at the embassy when you're applying for your visa. You need to think of where you are going to live. And there are always many housing options. And when you are considering this, if you have already had a job offer or a school admission or a training offer somewhere, you need to think of proximity to where you will be training or where you'll be working or where you'll be going to school. Considering public transport is also very important. There is a good public transport system in Germany and you can take advantage of this. So this is important for you to think about when you're coming to Germany. The next way to prepare yourself to come to Germany is thinking about your finances. That is very important. You have to be sure that you have sufficient finances to cover your cost of living here. This is very important because if you get here just at the beginning and you don't have money, it will be very difficult to go through all the things that you need to set up for yourself. And then when you are considering finances, also think about your health insurance, which I already mentioned. So look at the options, health insurance options that you have. Of course, there is public health insurance, there is private health insurance. Some are more expensive than others, so you need to look at these different options to choose what is best for you. Then the other way to prepare yourself to come to Germany is thinking about integration and networking. This is very important. Join an expat group. You may do this through an online platform. There are online expert platforms, there are online communities which you can join to get yourself familiarized with the way people live in Germany and the way things are done. And then when you are already here in Germany, you need to attend local events. Attending local events is the best way to integrate. Also, attending meetup groups, that's also another very important way to integrate when you are here in Germany. And also think about attending language exchange programs or language exchange sessions, what is commonly called in Germany Sprachcafé. You need to meet up with people who are like-minded, maybe learning language, and then you can exchange with them. It can improve your German and also help you to live well in the community where you are. And then you can also consider volunteer and maybe do something in the community where you live. When you do consider volunteering, that is something that Germans take very seriously. When you volunteer, it can even increase your chances, like maybe when you're applying for your residence permit or applying for any other document, and they see that you have been volunteering in something that is of interest to the community, you are considered. So this is another way you can prepare your mind about coming to Germany. The last thing I will mention is thinking about logistics. And by logistics here, when you finally get to Germany, you need to set up where you're living. So like setting up the internet in your house and other essential services, that is logistics. And you need to do it here because those are things that you have to do from the beginning to enable you transition smoothly. And then you also, most importantly, when you get to Germany, most importantly, you need to consider registering the accommodation that you also already have. And then also think about getting a tax ID. These are very important documents that you need to get initially when you come to Germany. So here in this video, I just thought to address these few things that you need to do to prepare yourself to come to Germany. If you follow these, your transition is going to be smooth. This can be speaking to those who have already acquired their visas and they are on their way to move to Germany, or for those who are still thinking of coming to Germany, know that these are the things that you are going to meet. So I am using this to let you know what you need to do to be able to transition smoothly to Germany and to live a life that will be better for you, free of hurdles. I mean, there will be several things that you need to do, documents that you need to put here and there. But if you consider these few points that I've given you here, they are going to help you enormously. Thank you very much for watching. Trust the Afro Senate podcast, for we are going to be bringing you information that is helping or that will help you to transition smoothly when you move to Germany or as you prepare to come to Germany. Remember to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share with your contacts, and also comment so that we can be able to know what to serve you with. This particular video is as a result of the feedback that we had, and we are making this video to let people know how to prepare to move to Germany. Thank you. Trust the Afro Senate podcast for the best services in preparing yourself to move to Germany.